Hello ladies and gentlemen, once again Ed Photog J the Great here. As I promised, I am now going to be doing a review on the Nikon D4. I thought I would go ahead and get outside of the normal office space. I didn't want to be all cooped up inside. So today we're actually going to be doing some shooting with the camera. By the way, if you guys see me like swatting, there's all sorts of insects out here. Anyways, but I'm going to be doing an actual review on the D4. We're going to have a couple models that are going to be here in a moment, and we're going to test the low light capabilities on the camera. The sun should be going down just a few moments here, well, about another hour from now, I guess, and we're going to be doing some shooting with the camera in low light conditions, and we'll see how it does with that. But anyways, now we're going to take a closer look at the controls in the camera. Okay, the D4, I actually wish I had a D3 to compare side by side for you guys, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get my hands on one of those. Anyways, the D4 is quite a bit different ergonomically from the D3, mostly in a good way though so far. The biggest improvement that I notice is, in the vertical grip more than anything. Now on this camera, which I actually preferred my D700 to the D4, or excuse me, to the D3, because on the D700 with the MB-D10 grip, you actually have the ability to change focus points whenever you're shooting vertically. On the Nikon D3, you just had your main directional pad up here, and if you were holding the camera in a vertical position, you couldn't really quite reach up far enough to get it. On the D4, however, though, they have given you these little additional directional buttons here, which is nice. So when you're shooting vertically, you can just reach up there and grab those. You also have this nice little piece of rubber right here, which is a nice place to put your thumb. So it helps you keep a secure grip on the camera now. So I like that. You have dedicated controls for your live view now, so you can go between your video and your still shooting, and then you have a live view button right down there. All the ISO, quality, and white balance buttons, and of course the voice memo button is still pretty much in the same place as it was on the D3. They have reworked the rest of the controls though. You'll notice that the AF on button is right here, whereas on the D3 cameras there was like right up in this region. On the Nikon D3, one issue I had with it was whenever I was shooting horizontally, a lot of times, because the AF on button was right in this region, as I was holding it, this bottom part of my hand would bump into that AF on button. But now you can notice you don't really have that issue at all anymore. The AF on button is more accessible to your finger whenever you're shooting vertically, but it also doesn't get in the way of your hands whenever you're shooting horizontally, so that's very, very nice. Familiar little opening mechanism on your card slot door. Of course, on the D4 it is a XQD card and CF card. I know a lot of people out there hate the fact that Nikon came up with this XQD slot now. Frankly, I wish that Nikon would have just put 2 XQDs on it and just been done with it, but I can kind of understand why they didn't, just because a lot of people still have a lot of CF cards out there. But I wish they would have just gone dual XQD. The XQD cards look like they're going to be the nice wave of the future. They're going to be much, much faster, and I guess that's just kind of my inner technophile coming out. But yeah, I definitely wish they had just gone with dual XQD slots. All the buttons over on this side of the camera now are illuminated, which is really great whenever you have a camera that can shoot at such high ISOs. It's nice to be able to use, or to actually be able to see what you're doing with those buttons in low light conditions. Over on the side of the camera, you have a mini HDMI output, and you have your Ethernet jack, which this is a 10100 jack, it's not a 1000 gigabit jack. Apparently, from what I've been told, that had something to do with power requirements. But of course, I don't think, especially with this being a 16 megapixel camera, I don't think that the fact that it's 100 as opposed to 1000 Ethernet is going to be that big of a deal. Of course, you've got your microphone here, and then you have your headphone jack here as well. So, very nice feature. If you're wanting to monitor your audio levels, you have the ability to use that. It is also nice that these doors are kind of hinged in the middle. so you can actually have your microphone jack revealed without actually lifting the whole cover up to reveal the headphone. So that's very nice, because you can, you know, if you're just wanting to use one of these, you don't have to have the whole door open. So that's pretty cool. Nikon, they seem to have finally figured out how to make rubber doors now, which is awesome. USB port up here, which it is a USB 2. I wish they would have put USB 3 on this camera. They did on the D800. I don't know why they didn't on this one. I guess that's somewhat mitigated by the fact that you have a Ethernet jack, but still I would have liked to see USB 3 on this camera also. Finally up here you have the connector for Nikon's new wireless transmitter, which is, I guess my only gripe there is that transmitter is like $900 or something ungodly, but I do like the way they've integrated it into the camera body, so no more carrying around that big belt pack with the cord going down. It's just a nice little dongle that plugs straight into the side of the camera, so that's pretty cool. One other thing that they've changed on the D4 that I never liked on the D3 and D2 and all the cameras before that in this range, honestly, was the fact that the metering controls were way up here on the side of the prism area. So if you wanted to change that while you were shooting, it was kind of cumbersome. So I'm glad that they put it up here, you know, on the little, right on top of the drive controls there. So that's a nice option. Some people have also noticed that there is no auto exposure lock. Now this top joypad takes the place of that, and this joypad can be configured in a few different custom configurations. So anyways, we'll be playing with that a little bit later on. Now I guess the only thing left to do is to actually start shooting with this. So now on to the more interesting part. So far, this camera feels quite a bit different than previous Nikon models. The shutter sound is much quieter, which is always a plus for wedding shooters and things like that. As I suspected, the integrated vertical grip on this one makes a big difference. Having that additional directional pad down here now makes it much easier to change focus points. So now I'm not having to stretch my finger to reach the main D-pad. I have a sub D-pad here now, which is a very nice addition. Right now I'm shooting at 800 ISO. I'm getting about a 400th of a second, but I wanted to see what this camera would do at higher ISO settings. So as the sun goes down more, I'm going to crank the ISO up more, and we'll see how it does. Okay. So far everything seems to be going well. The sun is starting to go down now. I am up to like 1600 ISO right now at 2.8. So definitely time to test some low light capabilities. Anyways, we're going to get back to shooting. Okay, so here we have another beautiful shot. You can tell I shot all these here. This one right here is at 3200 ISO and 1/125th of a second. So it's definitely getting nice and dark out here now. 160mm VR on, and of course we're going to post all the more detailed shots here. I mean, zooming in here, I mean, there's very little noise. You can see just a hint of noise in some of the shadows there, but not much at all. So it looks really good. I'm very impressed so far.